In this video, we're going to look at line spacing, indentation, bullets. If we look, I've got the non-printing characters displayed, and I've got this particular paragraph right over here, the radish salad. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the ruler bar. If you go to the View ribbon in the Show group, there's something called the ruler bar, and I like having the ruler on all the time. When you have the ruler on, the indent markers show up on the left and the right of the current paragraph. So right now my insertion point is in this paragraph right here. So it's showing me that right now we have a 0 indentation on the left and a 0 indentation on the right. How do we get to the indentations? Click on the Home ribbon. One way you can increase and decrease indents using these icons right here. So if I wanted to increase indent, it goes to the ½ mark. So when we look at the ruler bar, the gray area is the left margin and the white is where we type typically. So if you look at our text down below here, see how the text moved to where the indent markers are? And one of the things you'll notice is the left indent marker, there are 2, but when you look at the right side, there's only 1. That's because the top triangle is only for the first line of a paragraph. Another way we can set indent markers is to take and left click and drag one of the triangles. So I can take and I can drag the top one to the 1 inch. So you'll notice that the first line of this paragraph moved into 1 inch, while the remaining lines of the paragraph line up with the ½ inch mark. Another way we can do this is on the Home ribbon paragraph mark. We can click, and under Indents and Spacing, there is an indentation group. You can see that we have a ½ inch left indent with a special first line indent that has an additional point or ½ inch for a total of 1 inch. Okay, I can go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to do 0 inches for left, and that's going to move them both back, and I'm going to leave the first line indent. All right, see, it moved it back. Okay, I'm going to return to that dialog box. Now there's another special called hanging. We typically use that with bibliographies. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now notice that the top triangle is all the way to the left and the bottom one. This is called a hanging indent because the left line of the topmost line of the paragraph is hanging over the remaining. And like I said, this is usually used for a bibliography. The right indent marker, I can bring it in, and typically we do a double, and I'm going to bring the top so that it's lined up. And then if I wanted to move both of these together, there is a rectangle at the very bottom. If I left click and drag, I can move both the top and the bottom together. We typically do that for quotes. Another thing with paragraph formatting is line spacing. In the Home ribbon, in the paragraph group, you have line spacing, and you may be asked to do 1.15, 1.5, 2, and you could see my paragraph as it moves. So if I do double line spacing, the lines in this paragraph have double line spacing. There are other kinds of spacing for the paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and click on the dialog launcher and look at spacing. We have 3 choices: before the paragraph, after the paragraph, and this is where I set the double. If I do single line spacing, and this is the spacing for the lines of the paragraph, which are a little different. All right, there are single, and I could do exactly multiple at least. So sometimes you do multiple, and you could do 3. I'm going to keep it single. If I look at my font size, the font size is Times New Roman 10.5. if I wanted to do, I could type in 10.5 points. That means it's like a line spacing before the paragraph, and I've got 12 points after. And we've got single line spacing. So if I click OK, you can see, if I triple click here, that we have spacing after the paragraph. I'm going to click on that again. So with paragraph formatting, it applies to the whole paragraph. So we've looked at indentation, first line indent, hanging indent, right indent. These paragraphs are one-line paragraphs, and ideally they would make a great bulleted list. So I can click on a bullet, and you may be asked to pick a certain bullet. Okay, I can click on that. Now, what happened is the spacing. Let's look at the spacing for those bulleted lists. Dialog box, single spacing. It already has spacing after, but it's really not being used, and that's because of this checkbox right here. Don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. If I turn that off, then we're going to get that 12-point spacing before that particular paragraph. You may be asked to put and define a special character on your bullets. When you click on that triangle, there is Define New Bullet. You can use symbols and a picture. Let's click on symbol, and maybe I'm going to be asked to do, and they'll tell you what the character code is. Sometimes you'll just have to pay attention to the instructions. I'll go ahead and pick that particular character code. I can also make it left, center, right align. If I click on font, I can change the color. I can even make it bold and italic. So if I want to make it a bigger size, I can make it a bigger size, and I'm going to change the font color so it shows up, and click OK. So now we have a little differently defined bullet. I can also change this from a bulleted list to a numbered list. So I can pick, and it's going to say number alignment left. I can also make it a multi-level list. And a multi-leveled list, this is just like your outlining. So you have heading 1. So I can make it outline if I want to. And what that does, if I tab, this becomes part of 1A. If I hold Shift Tab, it promotes it back to the same level. Now, when we apply a bullet, I'm just going to return it back to a plain bullet. I want to draw your attention to exactly what's going on. I'm going to turn on the non-printing characters. We have a hanging first line indent. The bottom triangle lines up to where the text is, and then you'll see, I'm going to zoom so it makes it a little bit bigger for you. You can see there is a tab character. So when you turn on that bulleted list, you're turning on a tab character as well. So that's it for this video. We did an indentation, we looked at paragraph spacing, bullets, and numbering.